I will go through the draft rules যেটা আপনারা অলরেডি পেয়েছেন সেখানে কিছু কিছু ইম্পর্টেন্ট জিনিস রয়েছে আপনি জানেন যে ড্রাফটে আপনাদেরকে ফরেন লোকাল প্লেয়ার এবং ওভারসিজ প্লেয়ারদের লিস্ট দেওয়া হয়েছে there will be separate draft for local players and foreign players আপনারা the franchise size will be 12 players and out of which local will be 10 and overseas 2 that's the minimum you can take unlimited amount of foreign players and you can register however local players only 14 players can be registered আপনারা এটাও জানেন যে যারা গত বছরের যে চারটি টিম ছিল they could retain 2 players and they could do a direct signing of 1 players আর নতুন যে তিনটি দল এসেছে they had an option of signing 2 direct players এবারের সবচেয়ে নতুনত্ব this is very important for you to understand that for local players parts you are allocated 4 crore taka excluding the retain and direct signing so you must be very careful that you when you are picking your players you do not exceed your parts your system will automatically lock from you to take any additional player if you cross that number one other important thing that has come through A grade players if any A grade player remains unsold after the 2 rounds of local players that is about 8 players will run an auction of the unsold A category player the auction will start at 50% of his registered value which is 30 lakh and in every call it has to be 5 lakh more so people who call 30 it will be 35 40 but on 60 lakh it will close and if there is more than one franchisee looking for the same player it will be decided on a toss up on a lottery so that whoever is lucky at that stage might get that player it all depends if any of the A grade player remains unsold after the first 8 players taken. For the foreign players equally, there is a parts of $250,000. That is the parts you can use from the draft. Of course, after that you can register as much of players as you want. There's one correction that I'm going through is that you have to take a minimum of 2 players from the draft. There was an issue where it was mentioned 3, but it is minimum 2 players have to be taken from draft. Overseas players, yes, thank you. Each overseas player's contract has to be as per prescribed BCB format, which the old franchisees know, and that would be countersigned on 3 parties. How is the draft going to take place? We made a little change. I think everybody should understand it. On the red podium, on the red box, there will be the boxes with the name of the franchisees. And on the green podium, there will be numbers 1 to 7. One of the board members will pick one of the red ball that will give the name of the franchisee and the franchisee will come up and pick up the green ball to give the serial number under which he is going to call the draft. So if X comes on ball red and on the green it comes out 3, that means X is going to call number 3. Also you know on one set there will be 2 rounds. To make it even, we have 1 to 7. The team which has the 7th calling on the draft, on the second round of the first set, they will be number 1, and the one which called first will be number 7. So anybody has any issues, please ask for clearance. The way we will conduct this draft, we'll have 2 sets of local player, 1 set of overseas player. Then again, we'll have 2 sets of foreign player, overseas player, and 1 set of overseas player. And we'll continue till there is appetite for the franchisees to fulfill their requirement. As the grades are done, no player can exceed the grade mentioned on the fee draft as it is for the players recruited for overseas and local. Each draft player's nationality for foreign players, their specialty, grade, and expected availability is given there. There's few changes which I'm going to come back to you. The BPL Governing Council reserves all right for any dispute resolution and any specific decision that has to be made, and that is final and binding. Following each set, we could have a recess of 5 minutes for team to regroup their strategy and tactics for the next calling. In case of any unavailability of any local player due to injury or any other reason, the franchisee will be allowed to apply online to BPL Governing Council Technical Committee for a replacement. So these are the key conditions of the rules. As you are aware, there are 198 players on the local players list in 6 categories. There's a category A, B, C, D, E, and F. The value goes at 60 lakh, 40 lakh, 25 lakh, 20 lakh, 15, and 10. Out of 198, 17 players have been signed directly or retained. That leaves 181 players. Just for a correction, Jisan, who was directly signed by Rangpur, has been returned, so he's back on the list for today's draft. Oh, Rajshahi, sorry, my mistake. Thank you very much. And on the foreign players list, we have 440 players, which is a large contingent in 5 categories. This is A, B, C, D, and E, with a valuation of $70,000, $50,000, $30,000, $25,000, and $15,000 respectively. Out of 440, 6 players have been signed directly. That leaves 434 players available for today's draft. One other important information is there are 6 players on the local players list. They are Mrityunjay Chaudhary, category D, serial number 13. Mushfiq Hassan, category E, serial number 36. Ashiquzzaman, category E, serial number 26. Rohanatullah Borshon, category E, serial number 21. Ibadat Hussain, category C, serial number 2. And Mohammad Shaukat Ali, category number D, serial number 12. These 6 players will be available to their subject to medical clearance by BCB Medical Committee. At present, they are on rehab program. The foreign players list, who is excluded from the list, may I read them out, is David Johans Malan. He's been signed by Fortune Borishal. Alex Hills. He's been signed by Rangpur Riders. Ocean Ramanin Thomas from Jamaica is signed by Khulna Tigers. Paul Sterling from Ireland has been signed by Sylhet Strikers. Stephen Taylor has been signed by Rangpur Riders. There's one more correction. Leheru Milantha, who has been graded on category B and D by 2 different applications. We got a confirmation from the player that he is available on category D. So E should be omitted. And as I mentioned, Jason Alam of category D has been returned to the draft. So that leaves us with the key information on today's draft. We are all ready to go Is the teams ready?
For more updates, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Download 𝗃𝗵𝗴𝗃 app to enjoy exciting games and highlights. Visit 𝗃𝗵𝗴𝗃.com.